I am.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you here. And no pressure, Guy, but I'm reading this release about your show, and you've got a lot to live up to. Jeez.
Oh my gosh! Don't I know it?
You have to be, according to this, you have to be smart, fast-paced, culturally insightful. You have to be energetic, informed, and often humorous. No pressure at all, huh?
I'm going to do my very best to juggle all of those words, all of those tasks. But it's going to be a lot of fun as I do my best.
Well, the Guy Benson Show will premiere here on Indiana's WCCS on Monday at 3 o'clock. But you've been doing the show for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, so for almost a year, it was a co-hosted show with my friend Marie, who left Fox News recently to join a presidential campaign over on the Democratic side. So then it became my show, the Guy Benson Show, just a few weeks ago. And then this change was coming down the pike, and it's now a 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern time slot, afternoon drive on the East Coast, starting, as you said, on Monday, June 3rd.
Now, you're one of the most endangered species out there, the young conservative, and so that's the bent from which you will approach this. You got absolutely nothing to talk about. There's nothing going on in the political world today, is there?
It is overwhelming. It was funny. I want to say there was one day, maybe last week or the week before, where I felt like something feels off today. What's going on today? And I realized, oh, it's actually a slow news day. It just doesn't really happen anymore, right?
No.
The last 3 really have been just a fire hose every single day of talk radio gold, of major political news, and typically there's some doldrums along the way, and you think of other topics, and it's not politics. But during the Trump era, that has not been the case, and Robert Mueller this week made sure that was going to remain the case with his little performance on Wednesday.
Yeah, well, one of the things about that is that in the past, what Mueller did this week would be something that would sustain itself for 5-6 days. But things happen so quickly now that you don't get as much time probably to spend on things like that because there's always something fresh. Here comes Trump with the Mexico tariffs now.
Right, exactly. So I was out last night here in D.C. briefly meeting a friend, and I get into the Uber afterwards, and I've gotten texts from friends, what's going on? Why is he doing this? And I'm like, what do you mean? Who's he? So I had to hop on Twitter, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. This will be another giant fight linking immigration with trade policy. Is this going to be effective? We've got the China fight going on. Do we want to pick this additional fight with the Mexicans? And I think you're right. The Mueller stuff and the Democrats, I think, dilemma over impeachment, that's something that's going to percolate and play out over the coming weeks. But the idea that there's one giant story that's going to dominate for lengthy periods of time, it's just not how it's been working, because it's just major piece, one after another, major piece of news. And the other thing is, I would just venture to say, on the Mueller stuff and the Russia stuff, I know here in D.C., especially because the Democrats really have impeachment fever, it's a big thing, and we're getting into the nitty-gritty and the weeds about, well, Mueller said this, but Bill Barr said that, and how do you reconcile? And that's all interesting on some level, and it might be important if they're going to, try to impeach the president. But if you look at the polling, it seems like a lot of Americans consider this story to be over and not a priority anymore. Yeah. And I think that's once again a disconnect between how a lot of people in the country feel and what Washington is obsessed with.
Guy Benson is on the line with us. His program will start on Monday here on WCCS. Now, you're also the political editor of townhall.com. Wanted to ask you this because there's so much happening in the political world, but on the world circle, America has so many different irons that it has to pay attention to. What happened in North Korea we're learning of it now over the last 24 hours. That could trump it all.
Yeah, there are, I guess, reports, and it's difficult with North Korea because it's sometimes difficult to get perfect intelligence about what's going on because they're so secretive. But there are reports that the the gentleman within the regime who was in charge of planning the Trump-Kim summit has been executed. And if that is indeed the case, I mean, you can try to read the tea leaves, but it doesn't suggest good things about our future relationship. And it could be totally unrelated to U.S. North Korean relations, but you sort of doubt it. And it's also a reminder that Kim Jong-un is just vicious. And if you cross him or look at him sideways or annoy him, or he feels like you haven't done the job that he wants, he just murders you.
Yeah.
And that is apparently what happened to the guy on their end who was planning these summits with the U.S. president. And if they continue some of these missile tests, and if they keep trying to push the limits after a period of relatively decent or hopeful relations, it'll be really fascinating to see how the president here responds to that, because he's really gone out of his way, I think sometimes maybe too far, to try to cultivate that relationship and get close with Kim. But if Kim starts knocking people off over there who are in charge of these summits and firing more missiles, that becomes sort of back to square one in a very disappointing way.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I only have you for another minute or so. Just for folks who don't know you, the Guy Benson Show starts on Monday. You've been on Fox for a couple of years now, all across the TV platform. You're online. You're everywhere. As we said, you also you write a lot, and we should know you by now. But for folks who don't know your show or haven't heard it in the nighttime edition, what can we expect come Monday? What's the show going to be like?
It's just going to be sort of an unconventional, right-leaning, conservative talk show. You're going to hear a lot, if you're a Fox News viewer, you're going to hear a lot of big Fox News stars who will come on the show with me, and then we're going to have lawmakers. I love playing audio, interacting with audio, with some monologues, and it will be mostly politics. That's my bread and butter. I try to be intellectually honest about the president. When he's right. When I disagree, I'll say so. And then occasionally, just for, I think, all of our collective sanity, we get away from politics. We'll talk about cultural issues. I'm a big sports fan. I'll occasionally get into sports, pop culture, that sort of thing. So it's a bit of a blend, and I'm really excited for the opportunity. And if people have any additional interest or questions, or if they want to get the podcast, for example, which is popular among younger folks in particular, podcasts are huge. GuyBensonShow.com is the website.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, you said sports. All right, really quickly, baseball, your favorite team?
I'm a Yankees fan.
Oh, okay. Football?
I'm a much bigger college fan than I am NFL. I'm a Giants fan of the NFL, but I'm not diehard. But I'm a Big Ten graduate. I'm a Northwestern Wildcats fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I love college football.
There you go. Hockey?
New Jersey Devils, rooting hard for the St. Louis Blues right now.
You're killing all our Pittsburgh folks, What's left? Basketball. We don't have a pro basketball
although
team.
Pittsburgh, I can't imagine that a bunch of Penguins fans are out there saying, "Oh gosh, we really need Boston to win another championship at something." Right? I think Pittsburgh fans are probably sick and tired of the New England Patriots and the Boston Bruins and all of these bandwagon New England fans. We can probably agree on that.
Thank you, Guy. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to hear you on Monday morning, or Monday afternoon, I should say, and then for a long, long time to come. Guy, thanks for being with us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Have a great day. There you go. He's Guy Benson, and his show premieres at 3 o'clock on Monday afternoon right here on WCCS, the voice of Indiana County. AM 1160, 101.1 FM, just about 25 minutes after 8 o'clock, and it is a Friday morning, and Chuck Clark is in our newsroom. He's on the way. And then Jack Benedict after that was sports. And let me see what we have, because I haven't even looked that far ahead at the next half hour. Oh, this is going to be fun. Dan Wagner, the Vice President of Marketing for the Indiana and Westmoreland markets for the First Commonwealth Bank, is going to be visiting with us and make his Teddy Bear Fund Drive donation on behalf of all of those goals scored by the Penguins this year, Chuck.
Excellent, yeah.
We're looking forward to that. Anytime a banker comes at you with a check in his hand,
with
you say,
money, that's nice.
Thanks a lot.
That's nice.
See you next time. All right. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160, 101.1 FM. And Indiana in the Morning is presented by First Commonwealth Bank.